This week, Canon announced a new machine in their semiconductor manufacturing equipment that might compete with ASML EUV machine. Even though it was big news, stock markets basically didn't move. What is exactly this new machine of Canon, and will it be able to compete with the EUV machine of ASML for producing the most advanced chips? In this podcast, I will analyze the new machine and the impact it might have on ASML, the global chip market, and the geopolitical situation. So, what is exactly this new machine of Canon? Canon says they have reached a breakthrough with lithography machines based on a new technology called nano-imprint lithography, also called NIL. Even though this technology is not really new, it has been existing for a very long time, but Canon is saying that they actually made some improvements. With this NIL technology, it is said that the machine of Canon can produce the advanced 5 nanometer node logic semiconductors. So far, only the EUV machine of ASML is able to produce these most advanced chips. More importantly, might be the future prospects of this new technology. Without going into very specific details, the NIL technology is different from the EUV technology of ASML. TechWire Asia reports that with improvement in mask technology, the NIL method will be suited to eventually produce 2 nanometer chips, whereas ASML EUV machine goes up till a maximum of 3 nanometers. Additionally, the Canon machine has a significantly lower power consumption and therefore a far more lower CO2 impact. I'll try to explain the difference in technology quickly. So basically, EUV technology uses light to project patterns on a chip, whereas the NIL technology uses a kind of stamp to do this. Because NIL technology does not use light, it doesn't need expensive lasers or lenses, which makes the machine a lot cheaper. Also, the entire process is less complex. However, the technology itself is more error sensitive, so the expected production capacity for this machine will be very important. So, is this new machine going to be a danger for the monopoly position of ASML with the EUV machines? The EUV machine of ASML is currently the only one able to produce the most advanced chips needed by the Apples and Samsungs of this world. Based on the reaction in the stock market, investors do not worry that this technology will endanger ASML's market leader position. Both the stock prices of ASML and Canon barely moved when this news came out. Also, when you look at the planned investment in production capacity of 340 million euros that Canon announced, it basically shows that it's not a direct danger. After all, 340 million euros is more or less the price of one EUV machine of ASML. So, on the short term, that does not seem to be an immediate danger for ASML's monopoly position on most advanced chip machines. Canon might be able, however, to scoop some of the market share of ASML in the lesser advanced DUV market, but also this is still to be seen. When we look at the broader picture, what are the possible medium to long-term political implications of Canon's new technology? First of all, the NIL technology is better suited for photonic chips, which is a promising technology that also ASML is investing in. Photonic chips work with light instead of electricity to make a chip work, and are used in applications like data networks, consumer electronic, and cars. Secondly, the NIL technology might fall outside the scope of the export controls recently imposed by the US government. Because of this novel technology, Bloomberg believes it will fall outside the current scope. This means that China could use these machines to dodge the ever-increasing export restrictions on the machines of ASML, thereby further strengthening their goal to become 70% self-sufficient in the production of chips by 2025. On the other hand, it might lead the US to extend the scope of the export restrictions to include this new NIL technology. Without a doubt, some time will pass by before the real implications of the new Canon machine will fold out. However, it is clear that this new technology will make the geopolitical war on the chip front only more complex. And it makes me question whether the export restrictions of the US is a dead-end road. After all, the new Canon machine shows that you cannot restrict innovation, especially not when it's one of your allies. This means export controls will always be outpaced by innovation, whether it is in China or other countries. Also, are there any limits on how much export controls the USA can exert over its allies, like Japan? Bypassing the Netherlands with ASML is one thing, as I explained in my podcast about export controls, but Japan is a different ally of a different size and possibly the most important one for the US in today's world. So, to summarize, is Canon's new machine a danger to ASML monopoly? No, not directly. The most advanced chips need a lot of layering and the nil technology is less suited for that. This also explains the kind of non-reaction of stock markets when the news was published. Politically, however, it does strengthen the view that one is trying to get around the ASML monopoly, and there's a reasonable chance that someday some country will achieve this. And when this happens, it could completely change the entire geopolitical situation as we know right now, with implications far beyond our knowledge. Next week, I will take a closer look into the cold chip war between the US and China and the role of ASML therein. So hopefully see you next week. Thanks for listening and please subscribe if you like this podcast.